Now we're going to work with the radial gradients. What we're going to do is sample the green gradient from this green hill, and we're going to apply it to this blue hill right here. So let's go ahead and select the blue hill, get the color picker, and click on the green hill to get that gradient. Now what we're going to do is change the gradient to a radial gradient. I'm going to zoom in here with Control plus on my keyboard, or you can use a magnifying glass. As you can see that the lightest color is in the center and the darkest color are moving outward on this shape, and that's what we want. Now we're going to reverse the colors on the radial gradient. So we're going to click this button here. As you can see, the colors are reversed now. The darker colors are in the middle and the lighter colors are going outward. From here, we're going to select the last color stop. We're going to double click it, and we're going to select a purple color. And we're also going to select the gradient tool. As you can see, the annotator is here, and the dotted circle lets you know that this is a radial gradient. You can always click on each of these circles to edit the gradient further, but we'll talk about that a little later. And you have your color stops here. With the gradient tool selected, we're going to go ahead and reposition the gradient here. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to go across, and we're just going to position the gradient to our liking. Something like that. I like that. Then you can always go to the little circles I was telling you about earlier that are on the dotted circle, and you can change the shape of the gradient tool to better fit your needs. And once you have it to your liking, you can just exit out of the gradient tool. Okay, now we're going to apply gradients across the bike frame. So what we're going to do is go ahead and zoom in on the little man on the bike. Control plus sign on your keyboard, and we're going to select the bike frame. You can go in and hold shift and click all the bike frame. However, on your practice file, this is already done for you, it's grouped for you, so you won't have to do that. From here, we're going to select a gradient that we created earlier, the yellow gradient. So go ahead and go to your properties under appearance and click on the box next to fill. Go over to your swatches and make sure that the gradient swatches are showing, and click on that yellow color that we created earlier. Okay, as you can see, it applied to the bike frame, and I want the gradient to go across the bike frame. I don't want it to be applied to all the gradients separately. So what we're going to do is select the gradient tool. So next what we're going to do is click and drag to the left or the right, whatever way you want the gradient to go. But since the man is going to the left, that's the way the gradient is going to go. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go about halfway. Part right here is me, and that's the way the gradient is going to be facing. And as you see now, the darker yellow is towards the front of the bike instead of the back of the bike, and that's what we want. Now we're going to apply some transparencies to gradients. So we're going to go back over to the first artboard, and we're going to zoom in here on these clouds with the control plus on our keyboard. Okay, we can just click any one of these, and we're just going to color picker the gradients attribute to the other shape. So let's go ahead and click on this one, and we're going to ungroup it, or you can just go into isolation mode, whatever is easier for you. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and add a gradient to the cloud. So let's go ahead and click on our gradient tool. Go ahead and change it to a radial gradient. Click on that. From here, we're going to click on the second color stop, the yellow one, and we're going to change the opacity to 50%, and then we're also going to change the color to white. So double click on it and select white. Then we're going to move the slider here to our liking. Okay, I like that there, and I'm actually going to bring the opacity on the second stop down just a tad bit more. Let's do 70%. And I'm going to move the position a little bit as well. Let's get about halfway. So you can do 50% here and see how that looks for us. So I actually like this. This looks like the sun is coming from the bottom instead of the top, which is where I like it. But if you want to get technical with it and you want your shadows to come from the top, so you can always change the gradient position where the brightest color, which would be that white, will come from the top, and the transparency or the lighter white will come down here to the bottom of the cloud. So I'm gonna go ahead and just copy this. And I actually like the effects from the transparency cloud into the actual solid white. So I'm thinking I'm gonna leave that white one there and put the transparency gradient on this cloud. However, you don't have to do that. You can just do all three if you like. And I'm also gonna change the position of the gradient as well to match this one as best I can. So again, I'm gonna go back to the gradient tool and move this gradient around here. And I'm also going to move this one behind the solid white one. So I'm going to Object, Arrange, and Send Backward. I'm going to zoom out here with Control minus down on my keyboard, and I'm going to just see how that looks for me. I like that, so I'm going to keep it as is, and you can change the rest of your clouds as well if you would like.